And welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. Last year I did a video about a gift I got from my wife, the IK Junior, and I was playing Space Invaders on it, so I just thought, well, I'm going to show Space Invaders on this, the gift that I got myself this year. In my last video, so just hit continue so the game keeps going. In my previous video I mentioned that there was a special little parcel under the Christmas tree. That's what this was. This is the Game Boy Advance SP, but this is no ordinary Game Boy Advance, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about this thing because it's actually something I hadn't really intended on buying, but I got it for such a really good price, I couldn't resist. So let's change the angle of the camera and show you this machine. So this is a Game Boy Advance SP, and I've been really getting back into the Game Boy Advance library recently. I have a DS, I have a 3DS, I've been really enjoying them, but there's something kind of nice about these games of this era, and I was going to do a video about the Game Boy that I already own, and that is this one, the Micro. I love the Micro. This thing is fantastic, and what I really like about it, more than I guess even more than the SP and the DS and the 3DS, you turn it on and you go. There's no kind of messing around with waiting for boot ups and for all the icons and the apps to load and stuff like that. You just go. So as part of the research of getting ready to do a video about the Micro, unfortunately I scratched the screen. I don't know if you can make it out there, but I got this gouge along here just because the cartridges I have were all sitting in my pocket, and I guess they scratched against it. So yeah, here's me. I've had this thing for years. I suddenly get back into the Game Boy Micro, and I've gone and scratched the screen. Fear not, I have a solution on its way about that. So I'm going to be talking about that another time. But yeah, the Micro I really enjoy. And so why did I get myself this SP model? Well, this is actually the Micro SP AGS-101, and anybody who knows a lot about these Game Boys knows that that is a very special model. What's so special about it? Well, compare it to the standard Game Boy Advance SP-001, and I don't know if it's going to come out on the screen or not here or on the camera, but this one has a front lit screen where it's basically there's a little light just along there that shines up and gives you some illumination. The original version of the Game Boy did not have any backlight or front light at all, and so it was almost impossible to see it. So Nintendo heard the demands of the audience and put a light on this one. And this is the very common 001 model. I believe it's written here somewhere. Yeah, AGS-001. And that's the one that everybody has and everybody loves. This one was actually kind of a lesser known model where this screen here is backlit, kind of like a DS or even like a Micro has. Like it's actually from behind. It's not front lit like this thing. This is a gorgeous screen. And it's actually a little bit of a rare item too. I know that in Europe these things were never released and they are super sought after there. North America and Australia, I think we got a few of these, and so we can get your hands on these a little bit easier here. And lo and behold, a fellow on AtariAge was selling this off with a charger and a carrying case, a very nice carrying case, and half a dozen games for a very reasonable price. And I just thought to myself, you know what, since my Micro is scratched and there's actually certain benefits to this model of Game Boy, I'm gonna go ahead and get myself this as a present. So I did. And I gotta say, I'm loving this thing. I mean, it's got a super nice metallic finish to it here. I'm gonna do just a very quick little discussion about this in comparison to the Micro and what I really like about this. And also what I don't like about this in comparison to the Micro, but we'll get to that. So yeah, if you can possibly get the 101, this is the one you want to get. You want to get this backlit screen. It looks so much nicer than that other model, and again, this thing might be climbing in value as well. So now there's lots of videos online that talk about all the benefits of this thing over the other model, and I'm not going to really bore you with details that people have talked about 100 times before. let me just very briefly discuss what I like about this in comparison to the micro, and what I like about the micro over this. First of all, let's get to the positives. Well, not only does this one play Game Boy Advance games, you know, you've got various titles. I don't know how many hundreds there have been for the Game Boy Advance, but it plays all of those. It will also play Game Boy Color games, and I'm going to give that one a try in a minute. And it also plays, as from my original little intro there, it also plays Game Boy games, like original generation Game Boy games. This is a black cartridge, and I'll describe what that is all about later, but I just like the fact that I've never really gotten into the old Game Boy library. I never had a machine that was capable of playing Game Boy Color or Game Boy Original cartridges, just GBA games. And I always thought to myself, well, why would I play a Game Boy Color Galaga when the collections that have, like, where is it here? I've got the Namco Museum for the Game Boy Advance, which has Galaga practically arcade quality. And so why would I ever go with the Game Boy Color or Game Boy Original version when the ones that came out for GBA are just a million times better, they're faster, they've more colors, higher density pixel, and also it fills the screen nicely. So it just always felt like there's no point in getting into that older library. I do have a reason, though, and since I have that reason to go into the old Game Boy library, I just thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to see what other titles I missed out on, because there's actually piles for the Game Boy Color and original Game Boy that actually interest me, so I'm going to start doing videos about those. Anyway, let's move all of those guys to the side, and I'll show you those in a minute. So what else do I like about this machine over the Game Boy Micro? I like the fact that you can collapse the screen down so you don't have the fact that you're probably risking scratching it like that one. Also, it's a bigger screen. I mean, you know, you can kind of see there. It's definitely a size difference. And although that makes the screen on the Micro, it's denser and therefore the screen looks sharper, I like the color density or the color saturation a little nicer on the Micro SP. Another great thing with this one is the sound is something you can just instantly turn off with a flick of the volume right down on the side there. With the Micro, you have to do this little rocker switch thing, which if somebody's trying to get your attention very rapidly, it's a little bit fiddly to deal with. This you can instantly mute and answer whatever question somebody might have and just get right back onto it if you want to turn it back up. Little bit of a disadvantage, this only has mono sound coming out of it. The Micro doesn't actually have a great speaker, this little thing right here, but at least it has a stereo headphone jack that you can put regular headphones into. All of the Game Boy SP models, you have to get a special little adapter that plugs into this thing, and it's a bit fiddly. It's a bit much to have to deal with. What else don't I like about this in comparison to the Micro? Well, I find that I don't like the D-pad. And I'm finding ergonomics in general just not fantastic. I mean, some people prefer the shoulder buttons that are on these SP models compared to what the Micro has. I honestly find this works a lot better for me. I find it much more comfortable. I really like the D-pad on the Micro a heck of a lot more. A lot of people don't like the shoulder buttons. I do. So ergonomically, I prefer the Micro, but I'm more than willing to make an exception in this case because there's certain things this thing does way better than the Micro. And again, no scratches on the screen, and I got it for a great price. So let's get on to one of those things that I like so much about it, the colors. Now, I'm really hoping this is going to come out on the camera here, but I'm going to throw in one game on both machines just so that with the hope that it'll be very obvious when you see what the colors are like. And this is the game. This is Super Street Fighter Turbo Revival, a game that just looks amazing on this screen. I mean, as mentioned before, the dot pitch is a little bit better on the Micro, so you end up with very, very nice screen clarity, but the colors on this thing just look fantastic. I really, really prefer how the characters here have got a lot more tones to them. The saturation is very, very nice to look at. I really, really like this game on this machine. Let's compare this to what it looks like on the Micro. And here we have it on the Micro. Now I'm hoping this comes through on the camera. but the colors here just don't quite look as nice as they did on the SP. It's a nice clear image. I mean, it's smaller, but boy, does the dot pitch look great. So you really end up with a very, very nice looking image, and this is a very nice way to play. But honestly, I think the colors just look so much nicer on the full-on SP. Okay, well, enough micro comparisons. Let's try some of those games I've never been really able to try before, like Game Boy Color Galaga. Now, the downside with a lot of these older games is they stick out a ton. I mean, that's not the best ergonomics there. However, for the sake of actually being able to play these older games, I'm more than happy. Let's give this a shot. Now, yeah, when you were used to playing the Namco Museum, as I am, going back a generation like this to the Game Boy Color version of Galaga, it's a bit of a hard thing to take. But you know, again, I haven't really played a lot of these older titles, and there are quite a few in the Game Boy Color and the original Game Boy library I'd like to try out. So. Sure, Galaga itself may not be all that stellar compared to the one that comes in the Namco Museum, but there are others that I am looking forward to trying out. And this machine will let me do it. When I started this video, I was playing Space Invaders. That was actually the classic mode that comes on this cartridge. There is a standard, more advanced version of Space Invaders on here. Let's give that a shot. And what's interesting to note is the SP does allow you, if you want to fill the entire screen, you just hit the shoulder buttons. Like that will actually make it fill the entire screen, or you can set it back to the original that way. I prefer the actual proper screen resolution the way it was originally, so I'm just going to leave it set that way. But let's have a quick go here. Now, I really like what they did with Space Invaders on the Game Boy Advance, which is actually a port of the old PlayStation 1 title. There's a very nice number of power-ups and other games that you can play. This is not bad. Again, you got to consider the time this came out at. And in fact, I played this when it was relatively new. I went to visit my friend who I've borrowed these cartridges from. As I say, I don't have hardly any of these Game Boy or Game Boy Color games, but he's got a whole pile of them. And I actually played this. I went to visit him, and he said, "Hey, man, you want to play my Game Boy Color?" And I'm like, "Sure, yeah." And this was, I remember this being the title that he had in his truck, so I've got a little bit of a fondness for this particular title. Anyway, this is Space Invaders for the Game Boy original. Now, I just want to point out, this is as I mentioned before, a black cartridge. And from what I gather, the black cartridges they worked in original Game Boys, but they also knew there were Game Boy Colors kicking around out there, so they came up with a color scheme that if you plug these into a Game Boy Color, they would then switch the colors to something that was presentable. And if you stuck it into an original Game Boy, then it would play fine on that really lousy pea green soup screen that they had. On this thing, they look really, really stellar. In my friend's collection of games that he loaned me here, he does have one gray cartridge, and these are the ones that did have just the standard monochrome style to them. They do colorize if you stick them in a Game Boy Color, or in this case an SP, and I'll show you what that looks like. Unfortunately, it's the only one he's got, and it's Bart Simpson Escape from Camp Deadly, and my friend's a big Simpsons fan, so I don't know if this is like the greatest example of an original Game Boy game, but whatever, I'll at least show it to you anyhow. There we go. It looks pretty ugly, but again, this is designed with only the original Game Boy in mind, so let's just give this a quick whirl here. And I believe you just do a lot of platforming here. You can throw rocks at some kids that come by. Where are those kids? I know they're in here somewhere. And grab that thing. It still looks pretty good, though. And as I say, the fact that I can now play Game Boy games. There's about half a dozen or so that I would like to try out. Oh, there we go. Now I got the boomerang. But yeah, this is an original Game Boy game playing on this SP. And the other thing that's actually very nice, I'm going to let Bart get beat up here, There's this very nice voice capture of the character here. What do you see when he gets hit? Yeah, he even does the "ay caramba" sound, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, that is an original Game Boy game, and although I'm not a big Simpsons fan, there are other Game Boy games that I want to try out on this thing. Well, there we have it. There is the Game Boy Advance SP AGS-101. It's a heck of a mouthful, but it's a really, really nice little unit. I'm very, very happy. Maybe not thrilled with the D-pad. Again, I kind of prefer how that is on the Game Boy Micro here, but after I scratched that screen, the Micro's kind of been a little bit of a... Well, it's in my bad books right now. Until I get that fix, I'll do another video about another time. In the meantime, this is super, super nice. This is in gorgeous condition. The backlit screen looks great. The colors are fantastic. The fact that it can also do Game Boy Color and original Game Boy games, that has a lot of benefit for me, because there's certain titles that I very, very specifically want to do videos about. And again, the guy on AtariAge was selling this for a heck of a great price. And I just thought, you know what? This would make an excellent gift, even though I bought it for myself. It's a machine that's going to get some use, and I'm very, very grateful to that fella. Well, that's about as much as I can say for now about all of this. Again, there'll be more videos, certainly more Game Boy stuff coming in the near future. The Micro is going to have a couple of follow-up videos done for it. And yeah, I think I'll just call it now, but until next time, we'll see you down this space age rabbit hole.